guys, my name is Ali Games, and welcome back to Let's Play The Lighter. Where we last left off, we are still continuing with Isabella, or not Isabella, Rebecca. Don't know why I said Isabella. We are on the 27th, I believe? Yes, we're on the 27th. We ran into Luke again. Luke and Kylie, you know the relationship by now. It's goddaughter and her godfather. And it's career day. Well, we went to the bathroom because apparently one of Kylie's friends wouldn't come out of the bathroom and was crying. We went in, Kylie came in and looked totally creepy again, just like she did with Zach. I don't know if it's because it's influencing her or if it's just simply using her body to kind of, I don't know, making it look like she was possessed, but she's actually not, you know. But anyways, they want to take Rebecca out for dinner. Kylie was the one that's like, you know, come to dinner, you know, whatever. Or we could go home and meet up with Ashton because the party is going to be that night, I think. Is it that night or is it the day after? It's the day after. Alright, but we want to talk to him and ask him to go to the party, which he goes to anyway, but I'd rather go with Ash. I don't really want to be around Luke. Like, Luke, I don't like him. He's an asshole. I really don't. The thing is, she's not seeing is the fact that he's cheating with on his wife with other women. He has he cheated with his wife with her best friend, their only best friend, her only real friend, and she's pregnant with his baby. And it's just like, he goes out to the bar and drinks and picks up women. We saw that with Marianne. So, I mean, he's not that great of a guy. She deserves a lot better. Maybe he should clean up his act a little bit. So, as much as I like Kylie, to an extent, I'm going to Ash. I have other things to do. I think it went down, but I don't care. Though, when you look at it closely, it isn't such a difficult decision to make. First and foremost, no matter where I look at this, it is inappropriate to some degree. Disregarding Luke's honest intentions, I've only known the man for a grand total of 2 days, including today. If I'm going to be thoroughly specific, I'll give it a grand total of around 10 hours. By all means, that's not enough reason for me to join them for dinner, even if he says Kylie's the one who requested it. To other people, it won't appear as innocent as he makes it out to be. If there's one ugly thing about this city, it's this place's penchant for inane gossip. One little spark, it'll spread like wildfire. Who knows how far it'll go? How many ears it'll reach? What if Ashton hears about it? I'd rather not think about the consequences to that. I've got enough on my plate lately as it is. Being at the center of a rumor mill along with this man, in whatever form it takes, sends a pleasant chills down my spine. My answer must have already shown in my face, as Kylie's smile immediately dissolves into a pout.
You're not gonna join us, are you?
No. What even kind of icon is that?
I'm sorry, Kylie. I'd love to, but I have other things to do. Another time, maybe? A friend just texted me about something urgent, and he wants to meet tonight.
Just say it's a date, Daisy. The little rugrat will understand. She's not an infant. No need for blatant lies.
He instantly crawls up at my face at his baseless insinuations. Oh, what would I give for another chance to put a real dent on his skull?
What even gave you that idea? And even if it is, why do you care? Stop sticking your nose in other people's affairs.
Oh, your face says it all, woman. You think I won't recognize those longing looks?
There isn't a look, you
There is a look.
There isn't a look, all right?
Oh yeah, there's a look.
Sure, whatever helps you sleep at night, Daisy.
You already have a story written inside that head of yours, don't you?
Oh, please. It's not that interesting. The color of your face does suit you, though. Matches the hair. Well, come on now, Munchkin. I'll just buy you an extra glass of that parfait.
With extra strawberries?
I'll get you a basket full if you want. As long as you behave. And no complaints if they don't have enough syrup again. Deal?
Deal.
Uh-huh.
Have fun with your date, Miss Pink.
Luke's already leading the child away before I can correct her. Upon reaching the end of the hall, however, he doesn't miss a chance to shoot me another one of those infuriating winks. Does he really think women enjoy those? I'd sue him for harassment if I can. Though I must admit, the two of them walking together, hand in hand, is an endearing sight in itself. He says he dislikes the idea of having children of his own, but it's easy to see some part of him genuinely wants them. What's stopping him? It's something to mull over, along with every other confusing and frustrating thing about, about this guy. Some other time, though. Ashton's waiting. Alright. Yeah, whatever. His car's headlights had been left turned on, illuminating the otherwise empty parking lot. If it's like that, this is probably going to be a quick visit. Although our landlady would probably have 100 words to say about this before letting it go. Not many in this complex own a vehicle anyway. To warrant the space's frequent use, owing to this area's proximity to downtown Luxborn. No one's going to be disturbed if one car stays parked with its lights on for a few minutes. Right now, though, it serves as a pleasant company while idle inside my own car, thumbing the invitation's fine print, flipping it over and over until the motions become familiar enough. What should I say? How should I say it? There's a very high chance he'll say no, but on the off chance he accepts, what should I do? Fears, doubts, questions I haven't asked before, and more often than not, the anxiety is because of him. 17 years ago, I've been in the same position, a different letter in hand. Somehow, nothing has changed. Perhaps if he noticed how I've always felt about him years ago, I wouldn't be in this predicament. Honestly, he managed to ace all those exams at school without even lifting a finger, and he couldn't figure this out?
How dense can he get?
Men are dense with this shit, okay? They very, 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 very are. Just saying. But I can't very well wait for another 2 decades just for something as measly as an invitation, can I? It's not like it's going to be a date. I don't like you that much, Baka! That's all I can think of. Although, frankly, I wouldn't mind if it is. However, that's a wish best reserved for some other time. I won't get anywhere if I just keep thinking about the what-ifs. Gathering all my thoughts and courage, I step out of my car and gingerly make my way upstairs, invitation in hand. Ever since the incident 3 days ago, there's a strange air permeating the atmosphere here. Waited, but the sort that slowly trickles through you, until the burden of it finally bogs you down with some kind of disquiet. The days since have been uneasy, and Isabel's absence from her flat does not help settle it. Wait, she's not here again? Where is she this time? I don't think she's at work. Every day, coming home somewhat feels like an uphill battle in itself, leaving you spent, when you're supposed to be getting some rest. Is Zachary experiencing the same thing? I certainly am. The same weary slump is also on Ashton's shoulders, once I catch a glimpse of him. He's leaning casually on the rails, his back against the metal surface, while reading through a bunch of papers. Each one appears more important than the other, despite me having never read a letter of it. He'll probably head back to the precinct after this, if he's not going to drop by Zachary's for a bit of a shut-eye. Doesn't he have his own place to sleep? Jesus. No rest for the wicked. So, forensic report. It must be the murders? Because there's 2 that happened, I think, at this point. Rose, and then it was another guy. The guy that was burned, but like the fire did not escape past the bedroom or the room he was in, and they said, "Help me," everywhere again. But no matter how occupied he seems, he pauses anyway and looks up from his work the moment he hears my treads. He raises a hand in greeting, and it's a small smile spreads across his lips. Exhausted as I am, I can't help but return it to him.
What brought you here?
He hums something inaudible, neither an answer nor even a vague hint, before he turns his attention back to the papers. For a passing second, I thought he'd ignore or evade the question, like every single time I've asked. But then he shovels the documents back to a binder and sets it aside with a huff. Its sound more fatigued than I ever heard from him recently. Either there's simply too many things keeping him busy at once, or his investigation isn't going too well. Maybe even both. Because he was taken off the case, I think. If I remember right, he was taken off the case.
Just work.
Just work? Do you expect me to believe that?
In a way. I didn't think an important contact ditched me and now I'm stuck would make for a cool alibi. Did it work?
As if there's going to be any difference. You're still a dafty. Anyway, do you want to come in? But if you're going to hang around for a bit, you better turn those headlights off. My landlady's one hairline away from banning you off this place, you know? Stop taking the piss out of her. She's a nice woman.
When she stops taking the piss out of Shirley, maybe I will.
You and your bloody car.
The first time I've heard of the name, I did a double take. From the way he put it, it was as if he was talking about some woman he met somewhere, surprisingly got along with and grown fond of. Never mind how impossible that is, knowing his lack of interest for people outside our small circle. Honestly, it sent a surge of panic in me. It lasted for days, until he proudly introduced me to his new car. His car!
Hey, it's a nice name. Don't laugh at it. You'll hurt her feelings. I'm gonna have to give that offer a pass, though.
Nothing unexpected, but admittedly, I'm hoping he'll stay for a few minutes. Suddenly, asking him to accompany me to some housewarming party is starting to turn into a bad idea. If he can't even be bothered to spare a second of his time to his friends, what more if he has to stand some hours in a room full of strangers?
I need to get going. I just dropped in to check on something and...
His words trailed off, cut mid-sentence on purpose, leaving it for me to comprehend the rest of it. At the same time, his eyes shift, momentarily towards the door closest to us. Isabella's unit. Eerily quiet now in her absence. The instant his lips curve into a small frown and his shoulders tense, I know work is far from his reasons for being here. Being all too aware of that idea alone summons another dull ache straight through my chest. Right, so either he's, like, concerned as a friend, or he has a thing for her. This is some really fucked up love triangle, isn't it? Like, every time, every single moment, he affords her the attention he can never seem to spare others. While it is a worry better left for a different situation, it twinges the heart nevertheless.
Is there a problem?
Nothing of note. Abigail just wanted to ask her a few things. It's related to that incident with Cooper. You heard the one.
Hold on. She isn't in trouble, is she?
No, I don't think so. Not as far as I know. And do you really think Scaredy Cat can do anything like that?
Unless she got possessed.
It's just an off-the-record thing, okay? Abigail wanted to confirm something. She knows I'm friends with someone working at BRC, so she asked me. Apparently she isn't getting anything from that company, as long as the red tape's in the way. It's nothing urgent, though. She isn't answering her phone again, so I thought I'd check myself. I can wait until she gets home.
If she comes home soon. The last time I saw her was 2 nights ago.
His demeanor immediately changes. Despite his careful attempt to appear nonchalant, his eyes scream of an unspoken worry. It's almost painful to see how much he tries to hide it, especially for someone he has known for years.
What? Did she take a vacation or something?
No word from her, unfortunately. And I don't think she'll go on a trip without telling us. It's been 2 days. 3 if she's not going to show up tomorrow either. Do you think we might have to file a missing person report?
I hope not. But let me know if anything happens. You know how to contact me. I'll see you later, Becca.
Ashton squeezes my shoulder, light as he can, before stepping away and heading straight for the stairs. His way of offering comfort in the middle of this little mess we found ourselves in. But amidst all of this, a tiny voice at the back of my mind nudges at a memory. Something I've forgotten and the very reason why I've chosen to return home early. He's made it 4 steps down, when realization kicks in and awareness of the envelope I've been holding returns to me. Panic rears before proper words can form, or I can think about the situation. Not a second sooner, I'm calling after him.
Ashton, wait!
He halts, 1 foot already down another step, when he turns to me, raising an eyebrow in question.
Yeah?
And of all times, it is in this moment when I falter, the adrenaline from earlier's panic suddenly recedes. All of a sudden, none of the things I prepared to say will take form, and I'm caught between simply forgetting about this or just blurting it out to him while hoping for the best. Tomorrow afternoon, do you have time? Why not? There's nothing wrong with trying, I suppose. I'm not going to lose anything if he says no. Which frankly has a very high chance of happening than the opposite. Though the thought still doesn't prevent heat from crawling up my face and send my heart racing. It's better to get this over with before my throat closes up and I lose my nerve.
Tomorrow afternoon. Do you have time?
A small frown is already on his face. I already see where this is going and what he's thinking from that alone. Yet for some mullish reason, I continue, hanging on to that tiny glimmer of hope he'll say yes, if I present an argument good enough for him.
That depends. Why?
Well, you see,
Rebecca,
sorry.
I'd rather stand on the messy end of a gunshot. You know that.
Well, you see, someone sent an invite for a housewarming party, and I thought you might want to rather stand on the messy end of a gunshot. You know that. Wow.
I know, it's just. You're one of the few people I can count on with things like this.
That's cool, I appreciate the thought. But really, Zach's a better companion. Gatherings
on,
like that
Ash!
just aren't my cup of tea.
It did cross my mind, you know. If he isn't busy with his freelance work, I'd probably ask him too. Actually, you two would have been spared if Isabella was here, but
Why not just skip out on it? The world's not going to end if one guest doesn't show up.
trust me, I'd love to. But I promised Mom I'll be there.
Still can't say no, huh?
Nope.
Like you're any better. Besides, the person who sent this is an old friend of Mom and Dad. If it's important to them, why not? Though, who would have thought, huh? The famous Evans heir used to be tutored by my parents. Apparently,
This is what's
we
gonna
also
get him
met
in.
before.
Wait, who?
Evans. Hannah Evans. Well, she's already married. She goes by Hannah Wright now. Remember the couple who bought the mansion Isabella's selling?
The same people?
As far as I know. Unless I misread their address, or there's another Hannah Wright in this city that we don't know about.
Let me see that.
Without waiting, he walks closer and takes the invitation off my hands, gently, but with the same force of urgency in his voice. I don't know what he finds in it, but his eyebrows draw together as his eyes scan through the little lines of text printed on the small piece of paper. His hold on the envelope tightens with each pass. By the time he's finished reading, his mouth has formed into a thin line.
You never mentioned this.
We met just once. Or at least, that's what Mum told me. Honestly, I can't recall anything from it. Otherwise, I would have told you about it.
He hums something inaudible under his breath, all while thumping the paper, staring at it as if doing so will proffer him answers to every unspoken question in his head. When he gleans nothing from it, he merely folds the envelope back to its form.
Alright, I'll go with you.
What?
I'll go with you. That shouldn't be a problem, right? Unless you've already made up your mind about asking Z-Man.
No, I told you already the guy's busy. Why would I bother him for this when I can go alone? But what about your own work and...
I can make time for this. 3 o'clock, yeah? I'll pick you up an hour or so before.
My head reels, less from what this implies, more from how easy all this seems for him, how fast this turnaround is. He's already halfway down the stairs when any semblance of sense returns to me, and I can finally string 2 words of protest together. Yet, all of it dies on my tongue at the small smile he shoots me. He disappears from view seconds later, his footsteps gradually fading as he descends the stairwell, till all I can hear are my own shallow breaths and heartbeat, loud, pounding hard in my chest. Girl, you have it bad. It is only after I'm standing alone in my room, minutes later, that it sinks in. He has taken the invitation with him, but besides that, more than that, he has also accepted mine. Calling this happiness is a complete understatement. For now, looming thoughts of the mansion and that woman lay silent at the back of my head. Alright, so we're at it's going to be the party! Alright, let's see. 27th. Alright. Excuse me. Luke and Kylie asked Rebecca out for dinner as she was about to leave, but the latter chose to be Ashton instead. At Salemwell, after a brief talk with Ashton about Isabella, Rebecca had invited him to the housewarming party. Despite his qualms, Ashton agreed in the end. The only sad thing is he's doing it because that's the people he's after is the Wrights. So I mean, he's not doing it to be nice. He's just doing it to, I wonder. Oh, I'm kind of sad. Not the path that I'm going. There's no ghosty lady I want to see. But anyways, we'll keep on going. I don't know. We might do the party because we might be seeing what from her point of view and what's with Ash and all that. So the night wears on without further incident, despite the great number of thoughts swimming inside my head. Come morning, there's only a hush, a strange sort of stillness, unlike the ones greeting me every morn. This one's easy, tight with anticipation, like a string stretched thin, merely waiting for the proper time to snap. Granted, it doesn't make my day any less pleasant, but the edge is there. And as expected, the second I step out of my flat, it comes apart, broken by the voices of 2 squabbling adults, echoing from a floor below. The quiet was nice until it lasted. Shame.
What the hell were you thinking?
Oh, it's Ashton and Isabella.
I wasn't. Ow! Could you let go?
Now, a few seconds later, they both ascend the stairs, with Ashton pulling Isabella by her wrist. She struggles, as she should, but his hold on her remains firm. Freeing herself means having to draw blood, as she attempts to pry his hand off her with the other one. As she attempts to pry his hand off with her other one, or using unnecessary force to push herself away. Neither of which is better than the other. One could potentially end in an accident, while the other means having to hurt him physically. She has the good sense to realize that, at least. However, it doesn't take the desperate edge in her voice when she answers Ashton's temper with her own. So on they go, none the wiser to my presence.
Do you have any idea how much trouble you could get in?
That's why I'm asking you for help.
Is this what you've been doing these past 3 days? Because this doesn't make your case convincing, Isabella.
Rose died, Ash.
I know. Every single person in Luxburg knows. It's on the damn news. But that doesn't mean...
People are missing. Some of those are my friends. And BRC's just covering it all up.
You can't just barge into my office and expect me to do anything about it, right off the bat. This isn't a children's game, Isabella. We have procedures. We have to follow protocol. There's red tape all over this case for a reason.
She's meddling in shit she shouldn't be.
We sure as hell don't investigate things just because some stupid letter spooked us.
Ash, you have to believe me this time. If we don't do anything right now, more people will...
It's been a whole week. This stupid letter prank is getting old real fast. I'm sick of it. It was funny the first time, not so much now.
You're the only one that can help me with this, Ash. Even Rebecca won't.
All right, you two are awfully loud. What's going on here?
Both of their heads snap up, almost in unison. A displeased frown is on each of their faces, but this is a necessary interruption. What can they do? People still in their units have already taken interest on the commotion, with some taking a peek behind their curtains, while others are bold enough to creak open their doors, if only slightly. If they don't keep it down, pretty soon, our landlady will show up. Getting a reprimand from her is the last thing I want to happen. First thing on a Friday morning, even if this is hardly my fault.
Well, if you want to continue this, you two better do it elsewhere. You're disturbing other people.
Don't worry, we're done here.
No, we aren't. Becca, I looked it up. I called them. I visited some of them and...
Which you shouldn't have done in the first place. Isabella, you're going to create more problems for us with what you're doing. The team has
I'm
already been assigned to it.
Curious
Leave it to us.
on what she's been doing.
Your precious team is looking at it the wrong way. Becca, it's not just Rose. There are others.
That last bit strikes a chord, prods strongly at a memory. At that vicious smile already etched deeply inside my mind. The image appears clear enough that, at the merest mention of it, I stumble on my own question.
What do you mean?
The letter, Rebecca! It's not...
It's nothing. If there's really something going on because of that dumb letter, none of us would be standing here. We've all read it, haven't we?
Has he... I don't know. I don't know if it's mentioned or hinted that he's seen something yet. Because I think Luke might have too. I think, but I don't know if he has.
But Rebecca's alive, Zach's alive, I'm alive. So for the last time, this isn't a curse. There's a murderer on the loose, and your coworkers happen to be the victims. Give it a rest, Isabella.
Yeah, but that's
It's
not
too
a
early for this
coincidence.
shit.
It's like you're all going after people from BRC. That's not a coincidence.
Don't you think that's too much for a
A
coincidence?
little bit.
Not so much. Most serial killers follow a pattern. I'll tell you about it some other time. And anyway, coincidence or not, the point is, civilians like you aren't supposed to get involved. You're putting yourself in danger.
I wasn't chasing after.
Will the both of you slow down and stop arguing for a minute? What's this about your coworkers, Belle?
Becca, please don't tell me now you believe this shit.
Sure, in a heartbeat, I'll agree with Ashton. That's how it always has been. Besides having a very good point, really, they're the very same ones he'll make every time I ask too many questions. But the fact of the matter is, what he wants to hear from me right now is far from what I've been seeing, sensing these past few days. It doesn't matter what Isabella or I believe on our own. Something odd has been happening around me, and that letter she picked up is at the heart of this. But however I respond to the question in their faces, only one of them will be pleased with it. The thing is... as much as I want to get on Ashton's good side, we have seen her. And the thing is, and the thing is, if they don't do something, more and more people are going to die. We're going to die. 2 of us have died, and I went back and changed it. Which those are the only, one of my friends is watching this. You know who you are. But anyways, they're like, well, you said you wouldn't go back and change all your decisions. But it's like, okay, no, I won't change what I say to these people. But when it deals with that this person's gonna live or die, then I'll change it. Because I want to see both endings. Like, no matter what, I'll have them die once and then go back and change it. But like this shit right here, I'm not gonna go back. I might have seen her twice. One of them, she kind of was possessing a child. I don't know if that went up or down. I think it went down. I don't know. Who knows? Ashton in particular won't be too happy to hear about it. Imagining the look his face doesn't take too much effort. His entire posture shifts the moment my reluctance shows. Shoulders tensing, brows furrowing, eyes gaining a sharp edge. He's already bracing himself for the disappointment. And it will be a disappointment. Not in a million years did I ever believe I'll be saying this either.
I might have seen her. The woman Belle's been telling us about. The one she said she saw in the attic.
Both of them stare at me like I've grown an extra head. And for a few moments, Ashton looks as if he's about to have a fit. A pause treads at his heels after. A silence thick enough. One can almost hear a pin drop.
You're kidding, right?
Do I look like I'm joking?
Really, Becca? Not funny.
Ash, I'm not lying. Why would I lie about this? It's been this way since the film fest. The past few days have been really odd since we read that letter. Last night, you mentioned Zach hasn't been acting like himself. Maybe you should ask him, too.
Or maybe you're all just feeling under the weather.
I'm not sick. Don't you think I'd know that by now?
Becca, you're starting to sound like Scaredy Cat. Give me a break.
Why don't you?
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, you two.
Isabella's voice cuts sharply through the conversation, abruptly putting an end to the brewing argument.
It's all my fault. This is all my fault. I was only hoping I could fix this before any of you. I'm sorry for dragging you all into this.
She breathes in, deep, steadying, and in that moment, something falls behind her eyes as she looks away.
I'll fix this. I promise.
Oh, something bad's gonna happen to her. A quiet resolve. The same one I saw in her that night from 3 days ago. But this time, it burns brighter. Even Ashton wavers at its sight, when she looks him straight in the eyes, gaze unflinching. Gradually, his grip on her wrist loosens.
Belle, there's nothing to fix. The problem is...
Just this once, Ash.
Her voice, though small and lacking any force, stops him. Along with it, every sound, every noise dies around us. A hush descending as if the world is waiting for her words.
You don't have to come with me. But if I don't do anything, I am going to regret it.
She lays a hand on top his. Gentle. Pleading. Almost intimate, if one does not consider the circumstances we found ourselves in.
Please.
Ashton will never tell a soul, will never admit it even to himself. But it is in that short second that his own resolve breaks. The moment the hard edge in his eyes softens and he relinquishes his hold on her, letting his hand fall limply to his side. Wordlessly, Isabella steps back and runs off, leaving only a muttered thanks and a small, lackluster smile. Only after the last of her footsteps fade away does Ashton move, breaking the silence with one of his sharp exhales, before reaching up to pinch the ridge of his nose, in a gesture of frustration and surrender.
Did you really have to tell her that?
What do you want to hear from me then? That everything's fine?
No, I want all of you to stop putting these ideas in her head.
God,
None of
Ash.
it is helping. Never mind. Don't worry about her. I'll bring her back here.
He's already poised to leave when my own instinct takes over. I reach for him, gripping his elbow with the same unyielding grip, the action prompted by voices whispering at the back of my mind. He's already made it clear he's not going to believe me, but he deserves a word of caution. Who knows where all this will take us? How all this will end? He shouldn't be caught off guard, beliefs notwithstanding.
Ash, I know you don't believe in those things she's saying. And you know me. I'm less inclined to believe in those things as you do. But I've seen something. There's something strange going on here. You don't have to buy it. If you don't want to listen to me, fine. But please, try to hear her out. It's bad enough that Isabella goes off like this without telling anyone.
Yeah, she hasn't
I'm
been
just
home in...
worried something might happen to her if she keeps at it. Talk to her, okay?
As if she trusts me enough for that.
Doesn't the fact that she approached you first about this, instead of me, already say a lot?
Different kind of trust. Granted implicity and never spoken. Sometimes too big, too fragile to last. He falls silent for a long moment as he turns it over in his mind. In the end, all he manages to offer is a small nod before he departs, and a promise to, at least, listen to her, without the teasing or jibes. A favor for me and the least he could do for her. This is as much as I can do for him, as well, until I've understood what's happening myself. Tonight, hopefully, alright, where this all started will provide the answers I'm looking for. Alright, so we're going to the party. Alright. Isabella and Ashton arrived at Salem Well having an argument about the missing BRC employees' investigation. Annoyed by the noise, Rebecca interfered, and in the end, asked Ashton to keep an open mind. Alright. Whoops. Run over too far. Alright. So, we're going to the... Excuse me. We're going to the party. Except the whole thing's off to a bad start. And all of a sudden, whatever Isabella claims dwelling in this mansion becomes the least of my concerns. Severely underdressed is a total understatement to describe how I look. Cars, worth more than my own apartment and childhood home combined, line the mansion's front yard. Men and women decked out in their best also flock near the entrance. Most are eager for the festivities to start, while some are simply idling about, enjoying the warm afternoon sun before it sets. But once the woman standing in front of the front porch speaks, their divided attention immediately shifts to her. Presumably Miss Wright, in the confident manner she holds herself among present company. Okay, so this is, if I remember right, the day before she finds the necklace. Right? Yes, the day before she finds the necklace. So, yeah. And we still haven't seen anything from the 31st or 1st. I think Rebecca's might... Whoops, not options. Rebecca's might be the first one we see of those 2 days. I'm curious, though. I'm curious. Ugh. This, despite keeping a far simpler appearance than the rest of her own guests or not having her husband beside her. A trait worthy of utmost admiration, at least. At best. God. At worst, she's the envy of every woman, the subject of every gossip in Luxborn.
Welcome, everyone.
And Mom said we could have been good friends? Can't even picture myself mingling with the kind of guest she has. Though I admit, she does seem familiar, now that I've seen her this close. Memories of sitting in a vanity not mine, being dressed in clothes too fancy for my tastes. They flit briefly in my mind, until her cheerful tone rises above the buzz of her enraptured audience again.
Please, make yourselves at home.
I wish I could share her enthusiasm, really. But being surrounded by all this extravagance, for the lack of a better term, really makes me dread how the rest of the night might go. Also knowing there might be some truth to what lies inside the place drives the unease further by a notch. Ashton, on the other hand...
Be careful with Shirley, alright?
For someone who abhors gatherings like this, he already seems right at home, sitting with an air too lackadaisical as he watches the valet drive off with his bloody car.
Can't you at least act with a bit more shame?
Becca, if I find a single scratch on Shirley, there will be hell to pay.
Those guys know what they're doing. They're handling cars worth more than your precious Shirley.
My disdain has likely shown beyond the tone of my voice, quite possibly in the form of a grimace. He chuckles, a rare moment where mirth and amusement dance across his features. Tries I might to pull up a stern glare, I can't help but join him instead. There's something in the lightness of it, and how easy this kind of interaction falls into place, when we don't let feelings get too involved, in spite of being stuck in a situation we're not fond of. It brings back memories. However, the moment doesn't hold. All of a sudden, Ashton grows quiet.
Chief?
An odd expression flashes momentarily across his face, though he blinks it away, before I can figure out what it is exactly.
Ashton, what's...
Sorry, Becca, I just saw someone I need to catch up with. Longtime friend.
It doesn't help that he isn't even making an effort to spare a glance my way when he answers. Instead, they're focused at some point in the crowd. His gaze, darting between people walking past us, until a small frown forms on his face.
Oh, wait, Ash, what about...
This won't be long. Be careful while I'm gone, okay?
I meet the smile he hastily throws my way with a frown of my own. What does he mean by that? But before I can ask already, he has turned his back from me and is walking away, without a single explanation whatsoever. In some desperate effort, I try to catch up to him, if only to know what warranted his sudden departure and his odd warning at the end.
Hey, be careful! About what
Only for my attempts to be interrupted by muffled ringing from my pocket. Mom's cheerful voice greets me as soon as I answer.
Yes, I'm at the party already, Mom. Yes, I'll say hi to her if I can.
The conversation itself doesn't last long. Just a simple hello, a reminder to enjoy the party, and to send their regards to their old student. But when the call ends and I get to look up, Ashton's already heading inside. With a sigh and, admittedly, a little disappointment, I tuck my mobile back into my pocket and follow after him.
So much for date.
Even with familiar company, this is somehow shaping up to a terrible evening. The party hits full swing an hour later because fucking Luke decides to show up. With the host opening remarks given, oh, yeah, okay, so he's still not here. Still no sign of her husband, the poor woman, and the guests promptly fed, the band shifts the melody to a livelier tune. Soon, laughter and the rhythmic tapping of shoes fill the room, all in accordance to the lifting strains of music. It seems fun, I admit. Fascinating, at certain moments, the flurry of dancers making the music their own, almost with no care in the world. If I weren't so indisposed, I'd have joined the crowd for a song or two. There isn't a lack of invitations anyway. Plenty of them, in fact, without asking more than once. It's only my stubborn refusal that prevents me from joining them. And I can. A single nod is all it'll take, and the evening would have been far enjoyable for me. But pride and my own silly hopes, the thought of being seen with one of them by him, curbs that, as much as I hate to admit it. It's a hard truth to swallow, especially when the very person at the center of it makes denial difficult. Can't even spare me a minute of his attention, or a single glance at me the whole evening. Well, Zachary might have spoken more words to me. The big guy's busy covering the event to boot. But at least he manages to slip in a conversation or two between takes, or a small wave of his hand when he passes by. What's Ashton's excuse? He's been flitting in and out of sight the whole time. One moment he's hanging around a small group, and another he's hovering around the string band. Just a second ago, he's wolfing down some deviled eggs by the buffet table, a glass of wine in hand. The next thing I know, he's gone. If I didn't know any better, I'd say he'd only agree to come with me for another reason.
I swear, the next person who asks, I'm dancing the night away with. Ashton can go fuck himself.
You would catch his eye a lot better if you wore nicer clothes, don't you think?
Her voice almost makes me jump, too focused on the gobshite wandering around the ballroom and my own annoyance to notice. If she's heard any of the profanities I've mumbled, or she's taken notice of my discomfiture? I don't know what that word is. She makes no comment on it, merely greeting me with a smile when I turn my attention to her. Miss Hodder Wright gives off a whole different air when she's not speaking to an audience. Homely, a bit too friendly for my liking. But I guess that comes from being raised in such an environment, and having to deal with pompous, snooty people. Though, I suppose nothing has really changed from years ago. I remember her carrying herself in the same manner during that one and only visit. Does she remember any of it? I won't be surprised if she doesn't. It's taken me a while myself. She's probably met a lot of people like little Becky throughout the years. Might have already forgotten about me or my parents. People like her thrive on connections after all. Nevertheless, I return her smile, awkward and stiff as it may be.
Didn't realize the housewarming was going to be this fancy. I would have gone with a nice dress if I knew.
Oh, you're fine, dearie. It's only really the parvenu, those who climb, that come to these parties all dolled up.
Say, she's wearing simple clothes.
Quite the
I mean,
black-haired beauty, isn't he?
It takes me a while to realize who she's talking about. Until Ashton walks by again, in closer proximity than any of the times he has done so far this evening. Still without a look of acknowledgement on our way. Our way, though. Even if Miss Wright speaks loud enough to catch the attention of anyone within earshot.
Who, Ash?
You know, you really shouldn't have turned down those offers. If I wasn't married, I'd happily go dancing with those young men. But You said a name. Ash. That's the exquisite lad you've been looking at all this time. I don't know him, and I'm the one hosting this party. That must mean you know each other.
I'm glad to find out that this is how
your
he got.
boyfriend then?
That's
that
how
would
he
explain
got to the
those
party.
rejections.
I thought it was because he was part of the police force and was there for someone like Rebecca is. This isn't the first time someone has made that assumption. Almost every student I've had in the past did. My coworkers, more often than not, assume he is. A few of my neighbors also think we're an item. Not that Ashton has ever reacted to those. He's been quite indifferent about it, in fact. Still, the heat of a blush creeps up my cheeks. A denial ready, despite wanting it to happen so badly myself.
What? No, that's ridiculous.
But
He isn't
you
my
want it
boyfriend.
to be.
Such a violent reaction. A simple no would have sufficed. Many here would be happy to hear it.
And I haven't been looking at him.
Oh, you liar. I do my best to summon a straight face, but before her good cheer, it easily falters.
That's right. You've been staring. Quite heatedly, in fact. Although I'm not sure if you look like you want to kiss him or kill him.
It's more the latter currently.
Just don't go murdering him on my property. I don't want to walk into a room and suddenly find a body there.
It's infectious in a way. No sooner I found myself enjoying our chat more than I have imagined myself too. Although her attention briefly wavers at one point, she remains a good companion. Even more once I've mentioned who my parents are. Her face quickly lights up, and fondness graces her face, despite the meeting from several years ago being a short one. But of course, there are some things we really can't avoid talking about. After all, it's one of the few things I remember her asking me the moment she spotted little Becky in the room. Do you have a boyfriend? In retrospect, it's an odd thing to talk about as children. There are lows we could have started with.
Yes, oh, I remember you. You were the cutest little thing with glasses. And when we met, you were having boy troubles with this lad called something with an A.
I believe I still had the clothes she gave me. Chosen, I could impress him. And even back then, Ashton has always been denser than a rock, and that one attempt to get him to notice backfired spectacularly. Sure, he's keen. He's a detective, for heaven's sake. But feelings, more often than not, escapes him.
What was it again? Aaron, Alan, Adele, Albert, Alexander, Andrew?
Which makes this whole talk all the more embarrassing. And the more names she lifts off, the more my discomfort grows, until my smile turns into a grimace. What would she think of me? Here she is married, to a man she probably loves at that, while I'm still stuck in the same place, yearning for the same person.
Ashton! Ash! That man is that boy! The same one. Oh, goodness me, after all these years! I can see why, though. He's quite dashing.
You don't really need to announce it to everyone with an earshot, you know? Keep it down.
I'm so sorry, but it really is cute.
She says that, but for a short moment, a hint of pity flickers in her eyes. I take that as a chance to change the subject, before anything more can be said over the matter. I haven't even sorted things out for myself.
So, this is a nice party, Miss Wright.
Though, to be frank, I doubt she'll be so willing to pass this up. The topic has already captured her attention.
Please, Hannah is fine. We're friends of a sort, aren't we? We must be friends, seeing as I know about your little infatuation, Becky. Don't you worry, dearie. You'll have your happy ending yet.
I hope. I hope
Not
for
too
Becca's
concerned
sake.
about that, am I? That's not what I'm looking for.
Oh? And what makes you think that? Doesn't everybody want their happy ending?
The idea of happy endings sounds like they're just for fairy tales. And they are, sorta. I don't think you can just sit around, trapped in some tower and hope for the best. If you love them, you have to fight for it, right?
Yes.
You're not just going to sit there and hope that everything will just fix itself on its own. Like everything, you have to work at it.
Take your own advice, Becca. Hypocrisy, that's what it is. How dare I preach about something when it's exactly what I've been doing? And then, I go and act as if I'm entitled to any of it. That, by virtue of us growing up together, he must return whatever I feel for him. that he's not allowed to look at another because I'm the one who stayed by his side the longest. When in the first place, Ashton has always been his own person. This is something I cannot force on him. I can only hold on to these, take care of it, until the time comes I can confess it to him. Great if he reciprocates, but if he can't? If he won't? Selfish. I've been too selfish.
But what do I know?
I'm sure the daughter of the two greatest professors I've ever known is smart enough to
just
know
go
what she's
for
talking
it.
about.
Just go for it. Just do it. Just do it. At one point, maybe I would have easily agreed to that. However, the past weeks has also seen changes in the way I view things. As nice as these things sound, it turns out whatever I previously know may not even be true for other people or for myself. It is sobering and almost funny how things I might have said with much certainty before now has doubts muddying each of them. But there will be a time to mull over about these later, because when a hushed study descends in the room, a whole different issue rears. Especially when fucking Luke, strides into the now quiet ballroom, fashionably late and oozing with the same pomp as mien he always carries around with him.
Good evening, ladies and gents. Enjoying the party. I hope I'm not too late in welcoming you all to
Is
the
he like
right
2
mansion.
hours late or something? Before long, Hana leaves my side to join him, and it doesn't take a genius to piece it all together.
Welcome one and all to our humble abode. Tonight, if you have yet to find yourself in your roles, you are our ladies and lords of the court of your king and queen, if you would excuse my presumptuousness. So enjoy the feast that has been laid out for your senses, as we only allowed the best to be served. Enjoy the rest of your night, everyone.
His attitude, the manner he carries himself around people, his unfamiliarity with that part of the city. Of fucking course. I should have known. Although I'm partly at fault here. Tabloids and gossip columns had never been really my thing. I should have also expected that wherever Luke fucking Wright is, some sort of drama will sure follow. He seems that kind of person who revels in it. Figures it'll find him on its own, even when he's not asking for it. It happens amidst a round of applause and hoots. That people lagging behind the crowd they've gathered does not catch up, until the cheers turn into several scandalized gasps.
I am pregnant with your little bastard. You promised me you'll take responsibility. God damn it, Luke. I finally got you to talk to me after months of silence, and you do this to me.
You do
What
this
do you
to
mean you're
me!
pregnant with? Luke, is this true?
Lies and slander, woman! Security! Johans, take her out of here before she makes an even bigger fool of herself!
No, you do not do this to me.
Well, he just did.
I was so ready to leave my stupid oaf of a husband. I told you to leave that damn wife of yours. Look at her. Does she look like she wants a baby?
Well, she's going to have a baby.
Does she look like she could take care of a baby?
Actually, I think she would be a good mom. I honestly think she would. The commotion doesn't go further, despite the drunk woman appearing like she has plenty more venom to spill. In a little while, security shows up, escorting her out. Apparently, she's the chief inspector's wife too? As if this whole thing can't get any more fucked up than it already is. What a mess. The damage has been done, and beyond the repercussions this will bring, I'm more worried about Hana. Maybe Luke too, in part. I've seen the man that hides behind his self-importance, and it is someone who cares for the person who stands beside him, no matter how questionable that is now. After all, no anger is worse than that of a scorned woman. He's lucky, though, that he is not to be the object of it anytime soon. That his wife loves him enough not to believe any of that woman's drunken prattles.
Take that troll up out of here immediately! And see to it that she isn't allowed here or anywhere we hold any authority in Luxborn.
Hana's outrage is a straight sight to witness. After those smiles and the grace she has carried herself through the entirety of the party. Like this, her eyes burning bright with fury. I don't doubt she could do much more. Ruin the scandalous woman if need be. Shaming her is already an act of mercy, generous enough coming from her.
Everyone, please go back to
But
enjoying
yeah,
the
if
party.
she's banned from a lot of shit, there's everything that they own, which apparently is a lot, she's not gonna be able to go to a lot of places.
Don't let that mess of a woman ruin
And that
your
was her
night.
friend. That was her friend. Like her only
You heard her?
friend.
Strike of the band, maestro, and let us dance like fireflies in the night!
Okay, so we're entering the end of Hana's story, because And then it went to the next day, and then, you know. Yet, when she turns to Luke, eyes gleaming with hope, something feels off. Something I can't quite place. Hers is not the face of a person who so ardently loves. There's also a lack of tenderness in it, an absence of warmth and sincere affection. It's the kind that constricts, suffocates.
Well, that was a mess, wasn't it? And you handled it magnificently.
It happens. We are very important people, are we not?
No one seems to have noticed that, however, and at their command, music resumes. There's a brief lull, a reluctant pause, before the place comes astir again, but shortly the buzz returns to the room. Dancers have once again taken to the floor, and their guests' excited chatter begins anew. Maybe it's just my imagination?
Milady, would you like to dance?
With pleasure, my prince.
The unsettling feeling in my stomach remains, however, even as the strained atmosphere dissolves into merriment. Even as I watch the couple lose themselves in the moment, or the other people around them join them in it. It grits me all the more when, once I leave the hall, the last glimpse I catch of Hana is her smile. A thin, unearthly one spreading across her soft features. The porter closes the door behind me with a soft click, but all I hear from it are the chilling whispers. Those that seem to echo along with another familiar grin in my mind. Okay, and at this point, Marion is locked in the hidden basement cellar place. That's where she's at right now. The brush of fresh air against my cheeks does little to dampen the nervous edge of my bones. Away from the rush of the party, I just feel bone tired. It's late. I've accomplished nothing of what I've come here for, and Ashton's nowhere to be found. I'm not sure what pisses me off more. That he ignored me the whole evening and might have just left without saying anything? Okay, if he did leave without saying anything, that is a fucking dick move. Or knowing he obviously has some other motive for being here. That is possibly the most truest thing ever. I don't think he came here just because he was being nice. He came here because it's the rights and they're investigating them. So he's like, I can take this chance to, get ahead in the case or whatever. Can't he at least trust his own friends for that?
He didn't have to lie to me.
He's not even answering his phone. That man has always been difficult to contact when he's out. But you'd think he'd at least have the decency to keep the lines open if he's going to wander off on a party. One that he happened to attend with his friends at that. Let the call ring for 9 more times before cutting it off. No use trying to find someone who refuses to be found. I can get home on my own. I don't need him. He can just...
Becca, where'd you go off to?
Hey!
If we're done here, let's go.
My mistake. The second his voice cuts through the crisp night air is that I've allowed my annoyance to get the better of me. Fuming, patience forgotten, I whirl around and march towards him. One accusation after another piles up at the tip of my tongue, ready to be hurled at any moment. There's no hesitation holding me back when I fling it at him. That straight face he keeps as I do so doesn't help temper my anger either. It only makes me want to slap some more sense into him.
Shouldn't I be the one asking you that?
Becca, I've been waiting here the whole time since that mess in the hall. I told you I hate parties like...
And before that, where have you been the entire evening?
Right then and there, I might have forgiven him if he'd shown some ounce of remorse for leaving me like that. Maybe he could have looked away, given me a sign that my assumptions might be right. He doesn't even need to put them into words. A simple gesture of confirmation is all I need. Rather, what I get is the same impassive look. He does that whenever he can't disclose anything. He does that whenever he's lying. In the face of it, amidst the thick tension, a frustrated huff is the only thing I can summon. Girl!
Be that way. Fine. Suit yourself.
Fucking don't think about going to be an item with him. That would just cause you trouble. Just don't do it. Just don't do it. If the fact is he took advantage of this to get more, to find more out of the case, that was his true intention, and that's a fucking dick move. It really is. And the fact that he's not working on the fucking case anymore, from what I understand, they took him off. He's just, no, I'm not starting to like Ash because that is such an ass move. No more words. After everything I've seen and heard tonight, I'm already too exhausted for those. So without speaking any further, I simply walk past him and stomp over to his car. Although before I can pull open the door, he calls out. one hand outstretched, a gentle weight on my shoulders.
Wait, Becca.
He pauses, his brows furrowing and lips curving into a slight frown. I can almost see the gears turning in his head, where he tries to piece together everything he wants to say. Before, perhaps, I might have waited patiently for those. He's not a man fond of using words to express himself. More often than not, any gesture of honesty will only come out blunt and coarse when forced. But today, for one reason or another, I simply can't summon that forbearance.
Ashton, if you're just going to waste my time again...
Becca, listen. I don't know how else.
That much is obvious. Why don't you just take the whole bloody night? Go on. I can wait until next year. Better yet, why don't you just keep it all to yourself like you always do? It's not like...
Rebecca, will you hear me out first?
The silence I can offer him, but whether I'll believe what he's about to say is still up for debate. A very long debate.
I honestly don't know how else to put this. I'm aware your parents have some kind of history with Hana Wright, and somehow you're friends with her. But you should stay away from these people for now. Especially the husband.
Don't worry, we can easily do that.
Who? Luke?
His expression deepens into a scowl at my mention of the name, but whatever opinion he has, he doesn't immediately voice. Still, something about it has greatly displeased him, evident in the stiff note his tone assumes.
Yeah, he's bad news.
It's my turn to frown this time. What does he mean by that? Okay, I think either, let's see, where are we at? We're there. Okay. Why do you think? Because he has nothing to do with, I don't know. What?
Care to explain your reasons?
I've not meant for it to sound as harsh as it does, but anger and frustrations have never been a good match in me, particularly in nights like this. It's not surprising when Ashton jerks back, as if I struck him. For a fleeting moment, something akin to hurt darts across his features, his eyes narrowing and hands closing in tightly into a fist at his sides. Then swiftly, he glances away and shifts his focus on the line of trees nearby, like an answer can be gleaned from the dark expanse.
I'm really sorry, Becca.
What is it for? For the party? The vague answer he continues to give? Does it include all those times before this? The year's worth of it? I don't doubt its sincerity. However, at the moment, the forgiveness he's asking is something I'm all too willing to hand, furious as I am. It's frankly a wonder how I can keep myself from raising my voice at him.
We'll talk about this
Alright,
tomorrow.
actually, I want to go back, because if it's something that will give us more info on what's going on, I'd rather have that happen.
Oh, what does he have to do with this?
Oh. It's not a question without merit. Though the man can be quite abrasive, sometimes downright nasty with his words, you can't simply accuse anyone by virtue of that alone. And it is an accusation, no matter how much Ashton's phrasing downplays their meaning. What right does he have to tell me who I should associate myself with, without even bothering to tell me his reasons at that?
Plenty. Just trust me on this, Becca.
Don't you
Okay,
Becca
yeah,
me.
no,
That doesn't answer my question
Okay.
at all, Ash.
No, it doesn't.
Care to explain your...
Okay. I thought it would give us more answers for the party, vague answers. That's why I went back, because it's like, oh, if he can actually say what he thinks is up with Luke, then I would rather have that, like, hear that than this, but no, nothing changed. Get rid of that.
We'll talk about this tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll just save it.
And you better have a proper answer for me by then.
There's a brief hesitation before I step away. A short moment of wanting to say more, of waiting if he has anything to add. He's only silent, eyes still trained at a distance. It's the last glimpse I see of him before I climb inside his car. As the door slams closed with the same force as the anger I'm holding, its sound merely vanishes into the night, unnoticed. He followed soon after, and shortly we're on our way back to the city. Yet even with the city's bright lights welcoming us, the dense, somber air forms the mansion still lingers. That's the only problem with this game, is like sometimes it doesn't like keep going. Alright, we'll read this real quick. Rebecca found Ashton waiting for her upon exiting the mansion. Irked because he was nowhere to be found during the entire party, she demanded to know what was going on. When he couldn't give her an answer, Rebecca warned that they'd still talk about it some other time. Alright, I will go ahead, save again. But that's the only, I think, decision I'll ever go back on, because if I thought for sure he was gonna say what he thinks is up with Luke, but he turned out and didn't, so it's like might as well just go back to my other decision. But anyways, where are we at in the? Oh my gosh, why do you keep starting me back over the beginning? Oh, next episode we might finish up Rebecca's, and then we'll be on Ash. I don't know how long Ash and Luke's are. I bet Luke's might be the longest. Luke's, and like I said, I didn't expect Rebecca's to be this fucking long. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a like if you liked it, leave a comment if you liked it, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye! The cries abruptly stopped. Light footsteps shuffled behind me, coming to a halt at the door. My heart skipped a beat. When I turned...
Kylie?
Ah, no!
Miss Pink? Miss Pink? Why didn't you help her?